A toad abode. Gus the toad had been busy chanting and marching all morning. I need a home. I don't want to roam. I need a home. I don't want to roam. Oh, my throat hurts and my arms, my shiny sign is just too heavy, he croaked. I can't shout any more, and no one seems to be listening to me. Gus sat down and looked around. The buzzing bees were safe in their homey hive underneath the sycamore tree. The wiggly worms were wriggling around their warm wormery, and the red robins were happily hopping in and out of their smart new bird box. Oh, thought Gus, even Tammy and Tibby the tabbies have cosy cat baskets in the big house. I really want a safe place to live, somewhere I can call home. When he was a baby toad, his mummy had told Gus that finding a safe home was the most important thing a toad could do. A home safe from cars, cats and thunderclaps, said Gus to himself. That's what she said. But where could he find that was far away from the busy road with cars whizzing by and away from Tammy and Tibby? Sometimes those crazy cats were too busy playing to spot Gus in the grass. I don't want a home that can be stood on. Gus was so busy thinking that he didn't see who was bounding across the grass towards him until it was nearly too late. Ruff, 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 barked Skipper, leaping clumsily over the bushes and landing almost on top of Gus. Croaky dokey, Skipper, what are you doing here? Shouted Gus, jumping high in the air. You should be in the green balloon with Sky and the others. You made me jump. And you made me drop my sign. Look, it's all muddy. Sorry, barked Skipper. I thought frogs liked jumping. I'm not a frog, said Gus. Frogs jump out of bogs. They're slippery, slimy and wet. What are you then? Asked Skipper, who was a little confused. I am a toad. Toads are bumpy and lumpy and dry, and this toad is far too busy to speak to bouncy dogs. I need to keep on chanting, marching, and showing my very important but heavy sign to all the other animals. Why? Said Skipper, looking puzzled. Because, croaked Gus sadly, I need a home and I can't find one. I want a home that's safe from cars, cats, and thunderclaps. Skipper looked thoughtful. She thought, and thought, and thought some more, and then bounced up. Don't worry, Gus, barked Skipper. I can help you. Just give me 5 toad seconds. Gus began to count the 5 toad seconds while he waited for Skipper to come back. 1 toad, croaked Gus. 2 toads. 3 toads. 4 toads. Ruff, ruff, barked Skipper, interrupting Gus's clever counting. Ruff, 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 ruff. What is it, Skipper? What have you got in your mouth? I can't see you, and I can't understand what you're barking about. Skipper dropped the large, dirty, orange flower pot which she was holding in her mouth. Look, it's a new home for a toad. But before Gus could say a word, the pot began to move. It's rolling, shouted Gus. Stop that pot, barked Skipper. My new home, shouted Gus. Don't panic, barked Skipper bravely. She leapt up, ready to chase the runaway flower pot, but as she turned, her long, hairy tail swung round and batted a very surprised Gus high into the sky. Croaky dokey, shouted Gus as he whizzed through the air. Whoa, I can see everything from up here. It's just like being a bird. Hello, worms. Hello, bees. Oh, where's my home going? As Gus was whizzing through the air, the flower pot on the ground kept rolling. Suddenly, whack! Gus hit the sycamore tree. Bump! The flower pot hit the sycamore tree. Thud! Gus landed in a heap inside the dirty orange flower pot. Croaky dokey, he squeaked. What a journey! Ruff! Barked Skipper. Welcome home, Gus. Gus straightened his warty body and looked up to see Skipper's smiling face peering over the edge of the flower pot. You can live in this flower pot, barked Skipper. It's a home for a toad. A toad abode. Thank you, whispered Gus. It's croaky-tastic. Ruff, barked Skipper gently. Now you're safe and snug. It's time for me to get back to the green balloon. I can't wait to tell them about your adventure, Gus, and about your new flowerpot home. Gus yawned and burrowed deeper into the soft leaves. He was feeling rather sleepy now. It had been such a busy day. A home for a toad, he mumbled. A toad abode. A home for Gus the toad. A toad abode. The sky was growing dark as raindrops started to fall gently, and you could just hear a distant rumble of thunder, but Gus didn't notice a thing. Murmuring to himself, he slipped into a dreamy sleep full of flower pots, leaves, and his wonderful friend, Skipper the dog. Croaky-tastic.